Good evening, Garden City. Call to order regular scheduled council meeting for Monday, September 24th, 2018. Our opening ceremonies will consist of the national anthem, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those veterans that have given their life. Please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Massey, call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs.
Here.
Councilmember Kerwin.
Here.
Councilmember McCarge.
Here.
Councilmember Earl.
Here.
Councilmember Squires. Here. Councilmember Lynch.
Here.
Mayor Walker.
Show Mayor Walker absent and excused. Okay, next. Approval of the agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the agenda for Monday, September 24th, 2018 at 7:00 p.m. with the addition of number 14, a closed session for city manager evaluation.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Earl. All in favor, or any comments? Public, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 6-0. Passes. Okay, now we have a new officer coming into Garden City. And Chief, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs, Council. It's an exciting night. Tonight we'll be swearing in our newest police officer, Officer Joseph Warner. Joseph, you want to come up? Joseph comes to us with over 8.5 years of police experience. First 5 years spent as a South Carolina trooper. And then he followed his wife up to Michigan, who's a Michigan native, and joined the Southeastern Michigan Police Department, where he's been for the last few years. So we're really excited to have him. He comes to us with a wealth of experience. He was a field training officer, evidence tech, crash investigator, and also has been recognized by the Mothers Against Drunk Driving for his efforts combating drunk driving. So we have an officer who has a lot of experience and has been recognized for his ability. So it's a good day for Garden City. Tonight we're doing something a little different than our normal swearing-in procedure. We're going to do it at council, which is great to celebrate with the community, the joining of a new member of our law enforcement community. And Judge Hammer will be doing the swearing in, and I'll invite him up right now. And then after the swearing in takes place, his wife, Ann, will be pinning his badge on him. So hopefully she's practiced. So. No pressure.
No blood.
Maybe a little blood, but no pressure. All right, you're on.
Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs, members of council,
members of our community. I'm very honored to be able to do this. I think this is the first time I've done it, and I'm, like I say, I'm honored to be asked to do this. One of the requests was that I wear my robe for the ceremony. It's fitting for this. It's always clumsy being up here because I come in one way and I take a moment to put on the robe, but I think it's very fitting. Every morning I come to work as Rick Hammer, put on the robe, come out as Judge Hammer. That little transition just means I'm not acting as the guy on the street, but I'm doing something very official. The reason I mention this now, every day, Officer Warner will be coming in as Joe Warner. Is that what you go by? Yes, sir. Put on his blue uniform. Then he'll be Officer Warner, representing the people of our city and the people of our state. So I'll just take this moment, maybe officers step over here. I will make that little transition right now, and you'll be making it maybe a little later with the badge. That's the blue uniform. As I said, it's a little clumsy right now, but it represents a very important transition because at home you're husband, I don't know, are you father? Or, oh well, the point of the matter is you're a member of the community and you have a very important personal life, but when you put on the uniform, you take on another role. Having said that, officer, or right now it's Joseph. Please raise your right hand. I, Joseph Warner,
I, Joseph Warner,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold and defend
that I will uphold and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Michigan,
the laws and ordinance of the City of Garden City,
the laws and ordinance of the City of Garden City,
and I will uphold and abide
and I will uphold and abide
by the rules and regulations
by the rules and regulations
of which I have received a copy,
in which I have received a copy,
as well as all other orders,
and as well as all other orders,
be they general, special, or otherwise,
be general, special, or otherwise,
of the Garden City Police Department
of the Garden City Police Department
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my abilities.
That I will not lend any time, aid, advice, or succor
I will not let any time, aid, advice, or suffer
to any organization,
to any organization,
known or suspected,
known or suspected,
of having any subversive tendencies,
or having any subversive tendencies,
nor will I,
nor will I,
in any way,
in any way,
affiliate myself with such organizations.
will not affiliate myself with any organizations.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Let me be the first. I feel honored to be the first. Maybe it's more appropriate for the chief or his lovely wife who's here today, but I guess I'm the closest, so I have the honor. Once again, I'm very honored. All right, earlier he was putting a pin through the holes to make sure it went smoothly, but you just go ahead and stand. As tradition, drop one.
Smoother than I thought.
All right.
All right, again, on behalf of Garden City and council and mayor, congratulations, Officer Warner, and good luck to you. Next order of business, we have a presentation from Mr. Plamondon, our Parks and Rec Director.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, City Administration, and citizens of Garden City. Tonight I'm here for two items. The first is to give a final recognition on behalf of the Great Bacon Run for the ultimate goal of that event, which was to raise money for our 4 youth sports organizations in the community. When we set out to create this event, or better yet, to launch it for the 2018 year, it was my goal to raise enough sponsorship money that we could in turn give back to the community. And it was my idea, with the approval of city administration, to give back to the sports organizations in Garden City. So I thank the support of administration. I thank our sponsors. A big contributor for those sponsorships, although there were many, the key sponsor was Garden City Pawn and owner Thomas Blaine, who donated $4,000 to this year's event. So again, I want to give a huge shout out to all the sponsors and Mr. Blaine from Garden City Pawn. But tonight we're here to give back, and we want to recognize the contribution of these groups in helping put on that event, and ultimately give money to these organizations as a result of the success of the event. So with that said, the first presentation will be to the Garden City Soccer Club, and it will be Miss Jen Horvath. If she can join us here at the podium. Photo, if that's okay. All right. And again, I forgot to mention, each contribution to the sports groups is $1,000 that were given to each organization. Next up, from the Garden City Youth Athletic Association, we have Mr. Ken Kibbett, Mr. Joe Bandy, and Miss Candace Westbrook. And next up, from the Garden City Figure Skating Club, we have Miss Samantha Baker. One more. And lastly, from the Garden City Hockey Association, we have Club President Tony Wigington and her husband Jeff Wigington. If they could join us at the podium. And again, thank you to everybody for supporting that great event. We look forward to 2019.
Don't go too far, Dan. We also, I understand you have a presentation on the compressor, on our ice rink compressor.
That's correct. Yep. So, you know, as everybody knows, there was a very big project that took place this summer at the ice arena. We updated a 40-year-old refrigeration system and replaced it with a much more efficient, much more energy compatible, whatever you want to call it, everything that we wanted in this system to provide good ice, better air conditions, better ice quality to our customers. One of the things that was an add-on feature that we was an alternate item in the bid package, was the opportunity for a computer-monitored system, so we could monitor the system off-site. So I wanted to just give a little demonstration tonight to council and the community to see what was part of the investment. So the company that did the project was a company out of Canada called Simco, and Simco Refrigeration, who also installed the ice package at the new Little Caesars Arena. Okay, I apologize. So this is so basically what we're doing right now is we're remoting in through a desktop computer that's located at the ice arena. One of the things that's really nice about this is it's basically like controlling a thermostat from your cell phone. I can control this from my cell phone. We have it set up on this computer we brought to the council chambers tonight. But we have the ability through this to monitor ice temperatures, alarms, as far as high temperature, low temperature, if we want to see how things are running, if they're not running, et cetera. So this is basically the home screen, and anybody, me and my staff can access this. We have an infrared camera shooting over the ice that gives us a real-time temperature of what the temperature is on the ice. It tells us right here at the bottom what the set point error is, what the difference is between the set point of the temperature and the ice surface, what the return and the supply temperatures are of all the Freon going to the floor, and how many compressors are running. It all tells us if it's what demand status it's in, if it's cooling or not cooling. And over here to the right are basically our set points. So we have 3 set points we can control throughout the day. We have game targets, basically when people are on the ice. We have daytime targets, and then we have night targets. And if you notice, the nighttime targets are higher temperature than our game time targets. That's for energy savings. So we're able to monitor the next morning to see how often the compressors are kicking on if we're getting a true savings. We can go in the next morning and see how the ice recovers from the night before. One of the nice things also about this system is it tells us what's running. So right now, this is real time. So we're logged into the system as it's functioning right now. These are the 2 compressors down there right now. If they're in green mode, that means they're running. They're calling for refrigeration. Tells us what pumps are running, tells us what fans, if the main fan cooling system is running as well. Another thing too that's also really nice here is, and this was a battle that we had with the old system, is making sure we were getting even wear and tear on all the equipment. So this system is set up right now to do that on its own. If you see right now, compressor 1 run hours is 356, compressor 2 run hours, 356. They're wearing at exactly the same pace. By nothing we're doing, it's a program that they set up. So we can control that ourselves and monitor that. We have the ability, let me jump back, under alarms to see if there's any alarms. There'll be red lights, and these will call out to my cell phone, my staff's phones. We would get emails if there was anything to troubleshoot. Simco Refrigeration out of Canada has the ability to remote into this and make adjustments on their own as well if there is any problems with that. It tells us the runtime hours of all the pumps and also the compressors as far as how many times they've started, how many hours, how many return starts. A lot of technical data that really outside of me and some of my staff, not many would be interested in, but it's nice to know that we have the ability to monitor this at all times. So I wanted to give council just a demonstration on this nice investment that was part of the package. So, aside from this, we're up and running. The ice has been good from all accounts. We've been getting really good feedback. We're near the finish line. There's a few punch list items, a couple small things that still need to be done in the package. But we're in operation 7 days a week. All our leagues are up and running. And so far, so good. We've been real satisfied. So again, I want to thank council and the city for supporting this big investment in the Parks and Rec Department. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Plamondon? Okay, thank you. Okay, next, community events, and I don't think we have anything coming up. Well, we do, but it's coming up later. Comments from county and state officials. I see Commissioner Anderson from Wayne County.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to give you a quick update on a couple of things. Last Thursday, the Wayne County Commission approved the 2018-2019 budget, so that's in the books. We're we're able to, it's about $1 billion, or I'm sorry, $1.5 billion, just under $1.5 billion for the county budget for the upcoming year, starting October 1st. One thing you'll notice that I left in front of you there before the meeting started is I'm sponsoring, with the cooperation of the county administration, a workforce job fair. It's on October 17th. It's a Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Schoolcraft College right here in Garden City. One of the things that at the Radcliffe Center. One of the things I've been sort of harping on down at the county is let's not forget the rest of Wayne County. There's more besides the city of Detroit, and no one would disagree that the city needs help. But I think there's, as I've been making a big issue about the county, there is more to Wayne County. So we've got, I believe, the first one that's taken place in some number of years, if ever, at Schoolcraft. And it'll be from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. at the Radcliffe Center again, on Radcliffe south of Ford Road. Everyone here, of course, knows where that's at, but folks at home might be someone that doesn't. And there's virtually every position in the city, or in the county, they'll be taking applications there, and a lot of it will be right on site. And I believe they're supposed to have computers set up so they can apply on the spot. But anyway, if you have any questions, let me know, and please pass it around. Any questions?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, we have no petitions or communications tonight. So now we'll have we have a public hearing on medical marijuana. This is your time to make public comment. It's not a time for questions and answers or back and forth with council. There is a 3-minute time limit. So, and also make sure you have filled out a form for Ms. Masti over there for the clerk. And anybody wishing to address council can come on up.
Hello, my name is Dale Ross. My wife is one of the owners at the Trustworthy Holistic Caregiver Growth Center in Garden City, and she's sick today, couldn't be here. So she wrote a little letter she wanted me to read to the council here. Says, "Dear Mayor, City Manager, and council members, I am writing to you concerning the 6-month moratorium which will halt further medical marijuana applications. As I have previously mentioned at prior council meetings, I find it ridiculous to have more than 3 medical marijuana grow, process, and provisioning centers in such a small 2 to 3 block radius. I know there are many surrounding businesses that are extremely concerned with the amount of traffic that will flow down those few streets. And if more than 3 are allowed, this will only make the traffic greater. I am aware of a business that has put their cart before their horse and has spent money at a couple of facilities in hopes to convince the city to allow them medical marijuana licensing. Unfortunately, Patrick Sloan had told them if they got their paperwork to him by mid-August, they would be put on the next month's agenda. However, a few days later, the city council put in a request for a 6-month moratorium on any more applicants. Since they were not allowed to be put on the agenda, the city has received an appeal because they feel wrong. Being told you would be placed on the next month's agenda does not mean you will be approved. That being said, I find it a waste of the city's time to be bothered with such an appeal. I am hoping this council will not be bullied or swayed by them and will stick to the 6-month moratorium and will continue only allowing the 3 medical marijuana facilities that currently exist. Thank you for your time and consideration, Laura Ross." That's from my wife. Continuing from me, my wife's been there for almost 9 years now. Obeying the laws, as hard and as stringent they are, barely surviving, waiting for the day that it could be bringing an investor in. There was a 2-place cap on when we brought an investor in who's spending millions, apps in at the state. Now there's 3, considering more. It's like putting McDonald's next to McDonald's next to McDonald's, and we feel it's wrong. It's just outright wrong. We bring someone out of the woodworks, come to the table with the monies to back it, spend the millions on doing this, our app's in, and now we're bringing more in. it's like a stab in the back, sort of. It just leaves us like, if we would have known that before, they probably wouldn't have brought their money. That's what she had to say. Here's some, got this for City Council. One for everybody involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Ernie Essett on behalf of GC Land. GC Land filed an application with the City of Garden City apparently just hours before the moratorium was enacted. My comments today, since I only have 3 minutes, are going to be towards the amendment to the ordinance which was initially referred to the Planning Commission. We appeared before the Planning Commission and apparently convinced them that they should recommend that you not adopt this amendment to the ordinance. Our only problem with this ordinance is it limits the number of licenses to 3. We don't care about any other provision of the license. The co-location requirement for 3 licenses is fine. Setbacks, location, everything else. There's somewhat of a self-limitation to the number of ordinances because there's only so many buildings that qualify under the ordinance that fit. Our reasons for opposing the amendment, if you will, are a couple. One, competition is going to be limited by only having 3. And no offense to the gentleman that was just here, but what he just said was he wants you to limit competition for him. Number 2, we've got a site currently vacant. We plan to put about $1.5 million into a building, new construction that'll end up on your tax roll. Some of that money is going to be used by the seller, who I believe you'll hear from later, to expand his business that's been in Garden City over 40 years. So economic development can come, but it can't come if there are no licenses available. You're going to miss out on the licensing fees annually. So if we were granted a license and we did the grow, the provisioning, and the processing, that's $15,000 a year. The property taxes on the building, $35,000, $40,000 a year. The excise tax, currently at 3%, some of that's yours. If it goes to recreational marijuana, 10% is the excise tax. You get your share. So there's a lot of money at stake, all of which is being limited by the fact that you want to close the door, in effect, at 3 licenses. So with respect to the amendment, these are the arguments that we made to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission thought, in effect, if we're going to have marijuana in the community, if it's going to be a business within the community, they shouldn't limit
Okay.
the number. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Justin Danaskis with Danaskis Consulting Development. We're a multi-client government affairs lobbying consulting organization. Just to kind of preface some of my comments this evening. So we actually worked on the drafting and ultimate passage of the policy at the state level and the 2 companion bills. And after we passed those bills back in September of 2016, we've now worked with over 100 municipalities throughout the state of Michigan as they're going through amendments like you folks are, drafting the original policy, presentations, and so forth. From our largest cities to the small cities, we've been assisting them in going through the policy. And it's through those lenses, as well as my lenses of being a planning commissioner and chairing that in Orion Township and also representing Weed Maps, you may have heard of. They're a $1 billion organization that's the largest technology platform for the cannabis industry in the world. So they have the data and the analytics. And so I preference just my couple comments with those things because those are the lenses and what I think we should be looking at when we're making tweaks to this sort of policy. And so it's through those lenses I really recommend that you don't go through with limiting the number of licensed facilities on the provisioning centers. Because you look at statistically, what they look at is they recommend 1 provisioning center per 6,000 residents in your municipality. And that's based on national trends, international trends, what's going on here in Michigan, and so forth. And as we look at your neighboring communities around you, it seems that a lot of them are kind of abiding by that rule of thumb. If you want a hard benchmark of, based on population, Hazel Park allows 4 provisioning centers per their 18,000 residents. River Rouge up to 7 for their 7,500 residents. Centerline up to 15 for their 8,500 residents. Wayne up to 4 for their 17,000. Wall Lake, on and on down the list. They're prescribing by if you're looking at a hard and fast number. But also, we should really take a step back and say, why are we going through this exercise for the Michigan, Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act? There's been commercialized cannabis for quite a long time in this community and others. It's really to provide safe access to clean tested medicine to the patients and also provide an avenue for entrepreneurs, business owners who want to get in the commercialized space, a safe, regulated, controlled space to do that. And so you folks have done some good policy here, but I really applaud you. Don't hit the brakes on it now and reverse back on what you've already done, because the only way we can move forward in the system is to allow for these facilities. We don't want these economic opportunities to go to other municipalities or back into the garages and basements, because these state licensed facilities do check IDs. They are probably going to be the most secure facilities in the whole municipality. They do pay a $5,000 local fee. You do get to share in that excise tax at the state level. They do employ, on average, 15 plus, employees for any given facility, and no one's making minimum wage. And so as we're looking at, making tweaks and changes to the policy, I'm all for, making sure it works. But as we look at, the statistical data, what these facilities allow, the policy you've set forth, what your planning commission recommended, what the market's demanding, what your locals are allowing, that, I really applaud you to, take a step back and allow the policy to continue that you guys have set forth, and I commend you on that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, council members. My name is Doug Maines. I'm an attorney. I represent Exclusive Brands, LLC, who was the entity that the first speaker tonight referenced. So Exclusive Brands had been working with the city, with Mr. Sloan, for several months. He informed them that on August, they needed to turn their application in by August 13th, which they did. Didn't find out about the moratorium until about a week later when they contacted the city and were told that there was a moratorium in place, so their application actually wouldn't be accepted. So we've filed an appeal just based upon that deferral at this point, which I understand will come before you at some point. But just wanted to be here today to also kind of echo some of the comments that have been made about limiting the number of provisioning centers in the city that would directly impact us as well as this moratorium does. So just by way of background, Exclusive Brands is an entity that's looking to operate throughout the state. They're one of a small handful of entities in Michigan that have already received state approval for step 1 and step 2 of their licensing. So they've gone through a very rigorous criminal, financial, tax, regulatory background check. One of about 20 entities that the state has kind of given their seal of approval to at this point. They're looking to operate here in Garden City, two small 500 plant grows as well as a provisioning center. Because they have that state approval, once they get the local approval, they can very quickly kind of turn on operations, and we're looking at potentially hiring up to 30 people in Garden City right off the bat. So unlike other facilities that are still going to have to go through that state licensing process that can be very arduous and can take a long time, you're not going to have to wait here. You're going to see the economic development benefits that have been spoken about here almost immediately once there's kind of local approval. So we believe, and we'll talk more about this once our appeal is before you, but just based upon equity and fairness, that they were told that this was the deadline, they met that deadline. We think they should be kind of exempted from the moratorium, and we think you should all not cap the number of provisioning centers that are allowed in the city by 3. Or at 3. They've spent considerable time and energy at this point. They put a $25,000 non-refundable deposit on their property. That is, the closing of the property is it's a $1.2 million purchase agreement that's contingent upon them getting a municipal license. If they don't kind of meet those contingencies by the end of October, then they'll have to extend that and pay, again, another non-refundable amount. So we would just ask principles of equity and fairness that you exempt them from the moratorium and also not cap the number of provisioning centers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. Myself, David McManus.
And Mike Zolay.
We are the co-partners, co-owners of Schaefer Screw Products at 32832 Industrial Road, which is right next to the vacant property, which we've also owned since 1975. We've been in our business since the same time. It's a 15,000 square foot manufacturing facility. And we also have another location right behind us at 32575 Park Lane, which is a distribution center of ours. And we're here tonight because for a few things. One is we've been a city taxpayer for 45 years. We've probably paid almost $1 million in personal property and real estate property taxes to the city of Garden City. We are very, very pleased to be a business here in the city, and we were approached by GC Real Estate, the entity that is looking for the license for this medical marijuana facility. And quite honestly, the interest that we have in this is due to the fact that this property we've had since 1975 has been vacant, and we were planning on doing an expansion of that property for our facility. As our business is growing, we're looking to expand. What this has offered us by selling this vacant land next to us to this real estate marijuana facility that's looking to get this license is it gives us the opportunity to do our expansion. The proceeds from the sale of the property will help us add on 10 to 12,000 square foot of additional manufacturing space. And without that, it's a little bit of difficulty with doing the expansion. So this greatly helps us do our expansion. Again, it's additional tax revenue. We're going to do an expansion for the city, for our business. And yeah, and then also the other thing that we are interested in is we're going to partner, have an equity interest in this facility, in this entity, and that has twofold benefit. One is they will be next door to us. They have plenty of surveillance and security around their building as well as we, and we think that both we can be sharing the overlooking of security and everything else across the property lines. So that's also another advantage that we have. Maybe more police presence, being that there's a marijuana facility in the area. There's already two already, so perhaps there'll be some more police enforcement in the area, which only helps our business. We're a high-price commodity business. A lot of our commodity is brass, and so we're always concerned about theft and things of that nature. So
Okay, sir.
any extra security would be great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name is David Griffin, and I'm from the Griffin Funeral Homes. We've been down the street from you for close to 50 years. The reason, and I'm with the Garden City Real Estate Group also, I got involved in the interest in medical marijuana was the amount of families over the years that have come through our facility at the time of need, and how medical marijuana has actually eased and softened the burden of the ending stages of life. Now, we have funeral homes that are in Northville, Canton, Livonia, and of course down the street. I grew up in the community, we do business in the community, and of course we've worshiped in the community also. I want to let you know that the group that is considering, and that also did come under the moratorium as we did, I know our reputation. I know the reputation of the gentlemen that are involved with us, the reputation of our establishment, what we brought to the communities that we've been involved with. And I think that by asking all of you, the council members, to accept one more of the application under the moratorium that we fell under would certainly be a good asset to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Paul Russo. I'm in the neighboring city of Wayne. I I operate a steel warehouse that handles steel for your automotive businesses. We've been in the community for 30 years, and this program was brought to me about this medical marijuana, and I got very interested in it because my father passed away from cancer. And I was going to a lot of these meetings to be an investor, and I can't believe the people or the children, the parents, the anguish they go through when they find out they have cancer. And I've seen where the gummy bears, the oils, the cannabis, people take it, their tumors get smaller, puts it in remission. I was talking to a grandfather and grandmother one day at one of the meetings, and they had a 5-year-old granddaughter that had terminal cancer. At 5 years old, they didn't think she was going to make it. They did everything they could to help her. And one of their friends said, try this. And it was marijuana, medical marijuana. Over a 4-year period, she was getting better and better and better. I'm glad to say today the young lady is 16 years old, and she's in junior high now. She uses the cannabis daily. Her cancer is in remission. And I wish I would have known this sooner. Maybe I could have helped my father. But I think we need to help people help themselves. I think more dispensaries within a city will help pricing where people that can't spend the money for this material or for this product will help bring the costs down. I think if you limit the dispensaries, you're going to see costs stay high. We got to make this affordable for all families and all people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Haitham Hanawa with Building Design Engineering. I just wanted to give you a perspective of what is proposed for this vacant property. At the time, we had submitted a complete package to the city, which includes a facility plan showing that this facility would be a state-of-the-art facility from the provisioning, processing, and cultivation. At the same time, we've submitted the plans that would show the odor control, very important elements in the cultivation process, and as well as a separate camera and lighting plan, which shows how the property will be secured, how the interior will be secured for preventing illegal activity and so on and so forth. So basically, I just wanted to show you a glance of what everybody's saying here today and what's could be coming to your city right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Andrew Richner. I'm an attorney at the law firm Clark Hill. I'm here on behalf of the GC Real Estate Partners Group. What you have before you tonight actually is a proposed amendment to your current zoning ordinance, which regulates the siting of medical marijuana facilities. But the amendments also impose a new requirement allowing only 3 medical marijuana facilities in the city, and it specifies that these 3 will be the 3 grow operations previously granted a special land use permit by the city. Now, as we've heard, GC Real Estate Partners did submit a site plan application for a vertically integrated medical marijuana facility, including a grow and cultivation operation, processing facility, and provisioning center. They submitted this on August 6th. That night, the council passed a moratorium on additional facilities. So the problem is, if this language is passed in the form it's in before you right now, our group, this group of local business people who have been here for years and years, will not have an opportunity to bid or be part of a medical marijuana facility in this community, which seems, to us a little unfair. We'd like that opportunity to be able to at least bid and be part of this opportunity. So you could, there are various ways of addressing this. The amendments could be amended further to increase the number of facilities. Or it could be this provision that identifies that the 3 prior applicants get the licenses could be amended. So those are just a couple ways, but otherwise the city is going to forego the economic opportunity that's being offered here. The the additional revenues that the city will get from our proposal, not from the other proposals. We're going to have facilities that are going to generate additional excise taxes, the additional administrative fees allowed by the state law, as well as additional property taxes, and the indirect benefits from having the increased number of employees that are going to be working at our facility. So we'd ask you to consider those issues as you consider the amendments, and perhaps, we'd be happy to work with the council on coming up with the appropriate language to address our concerns. I think that because of these concerns, that's why the Planning Commission actually recommended to the council that you reject the ordinance as is. And I think they all thought, there are ways to work this out. And I think that we'd just like some time to be able to do that with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else wishing to speak on the medical marijuana? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Next item, consent agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move for the approval of the consent agenda items 10A, 1, and 2.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any comment from the table? General public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Okay, we'll move on to our action items. B. Okay, item 1, zoning text amendment request to amend the ordinance.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move to adopt the following ordinance amending Section 154.165.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any comments from the table?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Councilmember McCarge.
The information that, the Planning Commission did not recommend that we proceed with this, and I understand why now. The people who came up and the presentation they gave, you were excellent. My concern is there's quite a few cities who have opted out of having any sites at all in their community. They're kind of probably waiting and seeing. We have came to an agreement with 3. Are we being conservative? It's easier to say 3, let's see how it works, and then if it works, we can open it up. But this is so new. The state of Michigan even, it's been a very awkward process with this marijuana, medical marijuana site. So as much as I appreciate the very professional presentation that we heard tonight, I just feel more comfortable staying with the 3 at this time.
Thank you. Anybody else from the table? Anyone, council? General public? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0. Okay, next item, community development block grant transfer. Councilmember Kerwin.
Motion to call for a required public hearing for Monday, October 22nd, 2018, to consider the transfer of program year 2017 CDBG funds and the creation of a new project to fund repairs to the Garden City Fire Station, and to direct administration to publish and post the required public notice of the hearing pursuant to Wayne County rules, minimum 10 days prior to hearings.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Lynch. Discussion from the table. From general public. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 3, housing rehab project, number 18-01001.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember Squires.
I move to award the contract for the Housing Rehabilitation Project 18-01-001 to ProCare Restoration Services in accordance with the posted bid packet using CDBG funds, and to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with ProCare Restoration Services in the amount of $14,770 for the remaining items.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Kerwin. Discussion from the table. From general public. Mr. Bacco. It's CDBG funds. It's not your tax dollars. It's from the Community Development Block Grant money. It's not tax money. It's not our money. It's a grant. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 4, special assessment.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Councilmember McCarge.
I move to approve the attached resolution receiving the special assessment role for the street lighting operation and maintenance for 5 years, beginning fiscal year 2018-19, and call for a public hearing on Monday, October 22nd, 2018, at 7 p.m.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any discussion from table? From general public? Yes, Mr. Bacco. We're just calling for a public hearing right now. We'll have a public hearing. It's the same lighting taxes that we've had. We're just preparing the roll, and we're going to have a public hearing. You can speak on it more. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes 6-0. Next, contract to award joint and crack ceiling.
Pro Tem?
Councilmember Lynch.
I move to award a 2-year contract to Cars Outdoor Services of Canton, Michigan to complete joint and crack sealing of various concrete streets throughout the city as part of the road improvement bond program in the amount of $317,760.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Kerwin. Comments from the table?
Mayor Pro Tem, I
Yes.
have just a question.
Yes.
Are these funds coming from the road millage fund?
Yes.
And when are they supposed to start? Are they doing,
They're doing the bid. I don't think they'll be starting this till the spring, but it could be.
it's the spring that there's,
Mr. Kern can answer this for us.
Good evening. The joint and crack sealing, we would be starting here in October.
Okay.
We have several projects coming up as part of the road improvement bond program. Obviously, we're late in the season, so all of the reconstruction, rehabilitation projects will start in the spring. We'll be bidding those projects out in December and January. We do have some time to do some joint and crack sealing, though, before the season is complete. So we're looking at doing a 2-year program. Half of the work would be done this fall, starting in October, and then the other half would be done the spring and summer of next year.
Okay. And that's coming from our millage, right?
That's correct, yes.
and so when will we be starting to collect the road millage funds?
The new one that just passed will start next year.
Pardon?
The new one that just passed on the August ballot, we'll start collecting those funds next year.
So how are we using the road millage funds for this October, is my question. Are we using just the Act 51
It's
right
going to
now?
be
I mean,
Act 51 funds this year, yes.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes.
It says road millage, but it really isn't in October. It would be the Act 51 money.
We won't have the funds until next year, so this will be Act 51 this year.
Okay.
And the plan is to do joint and crack sealing each year through that road improvement bond program, too.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because it sounded like it was the road millage, and I thought that can't be because we aren't collecting it until next.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other comments? General public.
How come it's expensive?
How come this was the lowest bidder? There were three bidders. This was the lowest bid.
Oh, yeah.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Unless I'm wrong, we bought a crack sealing machine not long ago so that the DBS could do crack filling. I don't know.
We don't have city manager.
No, he's not here. Okay, none of them. But I'm pretty sure there was one on there and we bought one. And I know we already had one,
They
but
bought
it was
a
old.
hot patch.
They bought Hot Patch. I don't know about the crack.
Oh, okay. Well, I know we got a crack sealer too because they did my street one time. I
Okay.
don't know why the DBS is not doing the crack filling.
I'm sure they're doing some of it, but I can't speak completely for them, but I would say we're not doing as much as what this contract is
Well,
gonna.
I'm sure you're not. If you spend that kind of money, they better not be doing as much.
Oh, that's what we're counting on. Anybody else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 6-0.
And then the second half?
Yep, go ahead,
I
Councilman.
move to approve the construction, observation, and administration fees associated with the 2018-19 Joint and Crack Sealing Program to Hennessy Engineers at a not-to-exceed cost of $24,910.
Support.
Support from Councilmember McCarge. Comments from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes 6-0. Next item, number 6, resolution and special assessment contract for parking area loan improvements. And Ms. Stoll, do you want to say anything?
This is through the DDA facade and parking loan grant, it's not a grant, I'm sorry, loan program. We have, it's kind of been very underutilized the last couple of years due to budget constraints, but we're slowly bringing it back to life, and this is the first one, and hopefully next year we see being able to loan a lot more money to our businesses for their facade and/or parking improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilmember Kerwin.
Motion to accept the resolution and special assessment contracts for parking area loan improvements at 29317, 29299 Ford Road and parcel number 35-013-01-0012-004 for the amount of $26,250, and also at 29217 Ford Road for the amount of $8,750.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires. Any other comment from the table? From the general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Number 7, fitness court cured-in-place flooring installation proposal. And Ms. Fulton, would you like to address this one?
Hi, thank you. Yes, very excited. iPlay is the company that's been installing the cured in place or poured in place rubber flooring in fitness courts for National Fitness Campaign around the country. And I'm really excited that we got this quote in time. And I need to give a shout out to Mr. Ryan Kern for all of his assistance on the technical aspects of the project. As you are all probably well aware, that's way outside my wheelhouse. And I couldn't have done it without him, as well as DPS and Parks and Rec. So, thank you.
Motion.
Mayor? Pro Tem?
Go ahead, Councilman Squires.
I move to approve the proposal from iPlay Safety Surfacing to supply and install the cured-in-place flooring for the fitness court in the amount of $18,500 and to authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
Support.
Support from Councilwoman Kerwin. Any discussion from the table? From general public? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes 6-0.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Councilmember Lynch.
I move to approve the supplemental appropriation to the general fund, increasing revenues and expenditures in the amount of $11,000 for the Conference of Western Wayne 1/10 Mill Youth Assistant Funds.
Support.
Support from Councilmember Squires.
And if I could just make one quick comment.
Go ahead.
Every once in a while, I'm a member of the Conference of Western Wayne, and every once in a while, we end up with money that is left over, and it does my heart good to know that it's coming back, some of it is coming back to Garden City, because I know Monica Fulton and her crew really use the heck out of that money. And it's nice to know that we were able to get some of the excess monies.
Okay, any other comments from the table? From general public? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Okay, next is public comment for items that were not on the agenda. And again, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Anybody wishing to make a comment?
I was in last week, I called the police and I had a problem. And one of the guys mentioned, I called them, they come up, so 45 minutes to the show. Actually, they should have come out. It took 1 hour. They were stowed up at the hour, then he came 1 hour later. This is probably that. I had to help. 1 hour later, they showed up.
Was this with your problem with the contractor?
Huh?
Was this when you had a problem with the contractor?
No, but when it was night, Saturday night, and the guy had moved it, so I called them. 1 hour later, they showed up. Fix that. Thank you.
Chief, you want to look into
1 hour
that?
later.
Anybody else? Any other comments? Okay. Report from acting city manager.
Nothing from the Office of City Manager, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. How about acting city clerk, Ms. Masti?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilmember Earl.
Yeah, thank you. First, to answer your question about the filler, we do have one. It's 20 years old and not capable of the job that needs to be done. So the only new, yeah. So that was coming from the city manager who's watching us on TV. The only other thing I want to say is to Dan Plamanen, very good job with the Bacon Run. I was very pleased to see that the sports associations received money for that. It's going to a great cause. We have to invest in our youth, to invest in our community, so good job on that. And the last thing I want to say, excuse me, is to our new officer, Joseph Warner. Thank you for signing up to serve and protect our community, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Squires.
Okay, just a couple of things here from the Commission on Aging. There's a free trip to the Detroit Institute of Arts for our senior citizens on Thursday, November 8th, 2018. The bus will pick up at Maplewood, and you will be back, I believe, by 3:30. The space is limited, though, so please RSVP by calling 734-793-1870 or by visiting the Senior Activities Office. And also, Maplewood is starting a new program called Stepping Out at Maplewood. It's calling all seniors 50 years of age and older. Come have some fun and socialize and get fit with the new walking club at the Maple Senior Center. They're going to have walking laps around Maplewood Community Center. You can log the number of laps you have completed. And at the end of each session, enjoy a participant reception with prizes and giveaways. The first session will be October 1st, 2018, and will run through December 21st, 2018. You can complete your laps Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you have any questions before signing up, contact the Senior Center office at 734-793-1870. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lynch.
Yes. First, I just wanted to tell Ms. Dole and her crew that the Lucky Squirrel, boy, was that a busy place on Saturday. A lot of good bargains. If you didn't happen to stop by, you missed a good one. I'm really excited. The Garden City Library this Saturday is going to be rolling out their new science kits. These kits will be able to be checked out and taken home, but on Saturday between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, they're going to open the kits and allow people to play with them and find out what they're all about. So this Saturday, September 29th, between 1 and 3 o'clock, come and join them to play with the new science kits. And this was all provided by the LSTA grant money. Also at the library, just a quick reminder, there's preschool story time with Ms. Kim on Wednesdays from 10:15 to 11 o'clock a.m. for children 0 through 5 years old. And then also on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m., they have a fun stress buster for adults. It's coloring. So come in, join in the fun. You can bring your own project. They have new coloring sheets available each week. It's a drop-in program, and it's for ages 14 and up. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Curran.
Beginning October 3rd, the 2018 Skeletons on Review is happening at the Straight Farmhouse. It's a fun event for the whole family. It's free. It is every Wednesday and Saturday in October from noon to 3, plus 5 evenings, October 26th through the 30th, from 6:30 to 8. Also, there is First Responder Appreciation Day, Thursday, September 27th. It's at Moody Teas at 33163 Ford Road. It's for police, fire, medics. Come in on or off the clock, serving free brunch and dinner to all first responders, raffles and giveaways. If you have any questions, you can contact Shelley at 734-956-5020. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember McCarge.
Well, the skeletons on parade, I was told that the skeletons are former movie stars. So it'll be an interesting visit. If you haven't been there, you've got to go. It's pretty entertaining. I would like to mention something that Councilwoman Squires didn't mention, in that her granddaughter just passed her nurse practitioner state licensing test. So
Yeah, as a doctor, yeah. Doctor,
so that is awesome. The last thing is, the last Wednesday through Saturday, I was able to attend the Michigan Municipal League conference in Grand Rapids with Mayor Pro Tem. And for those high school students who have to sit all day, I now feel for you, because going back and sitting for two and a half days, it was interesting. But some of the seminars I went to were excellent, and I'm going to try to get some of my notes together. But when I was there, it's really rained here, hard, fast, and I was wondering if there was any flooding. I know that Parsons Greenhouse did, because on Facebook it showed it flooded. But I was wondering how the city, did we get any flooding here?
Not hear of it.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I was in Grand Rapids with you.
Because one of the things that, one of the seminars I went to, it was saying that, we're going to be getting more and more of these heavy rains. And so we really do need to be very proactive in looking to see that we're doing everything we can as a city to make sure that our residential homes and our businesses and that don't flood. They just say in the next, decade, you're going to see more and more heavy rains. So that's why I would be interested to see if there was any flooding. So other than that, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Before I speak, Mr. Plandon had one more announcement.
Thank you. I apologize, I didn't mention this earlier, but there's 2 new programs I just wanted to make an announcement on. Everybody's announcements triggered me to, oh yeah, forgot to mention that. We have a new program starting over at the Maplewood Center. Lori Kuchar, who oversees the Dance Express program and some of the adult fitness classes. It is a Mommy and Me program, a new and fun educational 4-week program. Focuses on moms in their postpartum period after having given birth with children 3 and under. It's an educational program, 4 weeks for $20. The first class is free, and it starts on October 29th. It'll meet for 4 dates after, on Mondays from 1 to 2 p.m. The cost is very affordable, 4 weeks for $20. And if there's any questions or to register, you can contact Lori at the Maplewood Center, and I have some flyers here that I'll share with council afterwards. And one more quick announcement. We used to host a very big event at the ice arena that we have resurrected. My staff has encouraged me to bring this back, the Halloween Skate, which used to be a very, very big event for us. Will be held on Saturday, October 27th. Tickets go on sale, advanced tickets go on sale next Monday, October 1st. They are $10. Which includes your admission and skate rental and a goodie bag full of treats and candy for kids. All ages are welcome, and there'll be complimentary cider and donuts for everybody. So I have flyers for that event as well. So thank you.
Great.
Okay, thank you. I only have a couple things, one item, 2 items. Condolences go to Brian Shimilewski from the American Legion, who is, and his family, on the loss of his brother. Some of you may know him as Ziggy, but they lost their brother, or he lost his brother a few weeks ago, so to his family. And also to Steve Hergy and his family. His mother just passed away, and if you've been around the chili cook-off or a lot of the other events around the city, she was around there a lot. So condolences to both those families. And other than that, that's all I have. We do have a closed session.
I move to go into closed session regarding the city manager evaluation.
Support.
Okay, and we will do a roll call for that. Councilmember Squires supported. Ms. Masty.
Mayor Walker, Mayor Pro Tem Jacobs,
Aye.
Councilmember Lynch,
Aye.
Councilmember Squires,
Aye.
Councilmember Earl,
Aye.
Councilmember McCarge,
Aye.
Councilmember Kerwin.
Okay, at this time, we'll be going into closed session to review the city manager. Meeting is adjourned.